What if there really was no accidents, no chance incidences? Every success and every failure was to help us in pointing us in the direction of God. And some of the negative times, we seem to have stayed too long with that, longer than we needed to stay at the time. What if every experience in life was for our instruction, and that we had been we've been graded with failures and successes? All right, that doesn't make any sense. Oh yes, and that we've been grading failures as a low thing, and successes as a high thing, when they were all necessary things, lessons. Some more instructive than others, meaning it's not whether they were different successes or failures on the surface, but was the lesson from the experience learned. Maybe that little burn on our hand saved us from jumping into a fire one day. Maybe that little burn caused us to come up with an idea so that others wouldn't get burned. Some of our greatest lessons are also from our failures. Maybe it was only a failure because we didn't get the lesson, the principle that it was trying to teach us. So we had to repeat the lesson over and over again until we got it. The failure was trying to teach us something. Stop putting your head, or you're telling us to stop putting our hand on the fire. I know it's hard to imagine that there was instruction in some of the failures we've gone through, but maybe it was necessary to repeat some lessons to really take the lesson well learned. Maybe some lessons needed to be repeated to get something through our thick skulls. But regardless of how long lessons took, the good news is you finally got it, I hope. You figured it out through trial and error. We think if everything we touched turned to gold, that we had the Midas touch, it would be the best thing for us. But look at the men who seemingly have all the money in the world, everything's handed to them, but yet they jump out a window. Help me here. They didn't get the lesson on jumping off the chair as a child and got banged up. So as an adult, they realized the consequences of jumping off a 40-story building. I'm being sarcastic, but what I'm saying is our failures, seemingly mishaps, have a very good use as well as our successes. If, as the Jewish scholars believe, there is no coincidences, there is no accidents, that we must look at all our results and experiences to see the instructions that they contain, that good or bad, we would get the lessons contained in them, whether they're up or down. We are not perfect, so get over trying to be perfect and learn from our falls as well as our successes. Maybe in realizing the instruction in our falls, we can move on now and not have to keep on repeating them. Because if all our experiences in life were to help us on the road to a better life, to not worry about increase, because God brings the increase, not us. God lifts men up and brings them down. Then it takes the sting out of failures, because those things, decisions, were never in our hands to start with. But we are to do what is in our hands, that we have the power over to do, and leave the blessings up to God. We have the choice to serve someone in this life. It's either self-serving or God-serving. Every direction we take, every move we make is either a closer walk with God or not. We have the choice in every moment to choose our direction. God points the way, and He is the waymaker. But He does not move your mind or your body. You do. You are sovereign over who you will follow, no one else. To say that life is all predestined would be a dynamic thought to me, because that is the very gift God gave us, choice. The animals don't have choice, only man and angels do. To think your life is predetermined would be giving your God-given right to choose away, your greatest gift. If used properly, of course, your choices. Let's say God looks ahead and sees what our future is. That doesn't mean he predetermined it. And even God changes his mind at times. So don't try to say your life was predetermined. Then you can use the devil made me do it kind of story. God made us to be scrappers, to fight for our rights, to choose. If you give it up, if you give your right to choose up, that's not predetermination. You have the right to continue doing what you're doing or to change it. But that's not destiny. You're the one that changed your life. Here's the question daily. Who will you follow this day? That's all the Bible is concerned about. They don't care who you followed yesterday or tomorrow. It's biblical. God was going to destroy Nineveh, but he wanted to change his mind, to have something change, so he wouldn't have to pass judgment at that time. Even God's plans to do something can change if man changes his direction. Change, choice. So what makes you think that your last days is written in stone? Sure, he destroyed Nineveh maybe 40 years later because of their disobedience, because he continually repeated returning to their old ways. But they determined their outcome, not God. He didn't predetermine it. Just because we're bent in a certain way and our makeup doesn't mean that we can't become unbent in that way. So your past does not absolutely determine your destiny. It just shows what direction you're going, and if you keep going the same direction, where you'll end up. But today determines everything. You have a chance. You have a change of heart in a direction today on anything, if you want. So don't give up today's choices on your yesterdays, your tomorrows, or someone that said you're predetermined. The answer is in the day you're in, and having the free will to choose today's decisions. Sure, your past can have a strong influence on today's decisions, but it's still today that you get to decide if you will continue down the path you're going or not. God chooses all men, but he gives free will for all men to choose him or not. He made all men in his image. He didn't make junk. He didn't make one man in the image of the devil. He's not like that. That's not in his character, if you know him. But he will only put up with our continuing bad choices for so long and then judgment. It's not his fault that he has to judge your bad choices. It was always you at the steering wheel when it comes down to choosing. He points the way, but he doesn't make you go the way. He gives you sovereignty over your choice, over your life. Choose wisely this day who you will follow. Amen.